What if I told you that one small glass, just 100 milliliters of a drink sitting quietly in your kitchen, could unlock the kind of energy and firmness you haven't felt in decades? 10 minutes before bed, you sip it slowly, and within minutes, your body responds with strength, vitality, and power you thought had slipped away forever. No drugs, no prescriptions, no side effects, just the natural force of your own circulation, waking up again. I am doctor for more than 30 years. I have dedicated my life to helping men restore their confidence, their intimacy, and their health. I have seen thousands of men in their 60s, 70s, even 80s walk into my office with slumped shoulders, convinced their best years were behind them. And I have watched those same men come alive again when they learn the truth I am about to share with you. Because here is the paradox. Most men blame testosterone or age when erections fade. But the real thief of your energy is hiding in your blood vessels. As nitric oxide declines and arteries stiffen, blood no longer flows where it must. And without blood, no man can perform. But there is a way to reverse this naturally. And that is my promise to you today. I will show you how a single 100 ml glass of fresh celery juice can restore blood flow, improve erections, lower blood pressure, and give you back the vitality you deserve. So stay with me, because in just a few minutes, I will reveal exactly how this simple nightly ritual works and why it may be the key to unlocking the strongest version of yourself after 60. Before we go any further, if you haven't subscribed yet, I encourage you to click that button and turn on the bell, so you never miss another natural health tip designed to keep you strong after 60. And if this message speaks to you, type ease in the comments. If it doesn't, type no and let me know how I can serve you better. Now let's get straight to the truth. Most men believe their struggles come from aging or low testosterone, but that's not the real enemy. The real problem begins inside your blood vessels, where nitric oxide quietly declines and circulation weakens, slowly stealing firmness, energy, and confidence without warning. 1. The real reason men struggle after 60. Gentlemen, let me be very honest with you. Over the past 3 decades in my office, I have heard the same words spoken over and over again. A man sits across from me, lowers his eyes, and says, "Doctor, I think my testosterone is gone." Another shrugs and admits, "Maybe I'm just too old. Maybe this is the end of the road for me." And each time, I lean forward, look him in the eye and say, "No, my friend, that is not the full story. The truth is that your body hasn't betrayed you, and your manhood hasn't simply expired with age. What has happened is far quieter, far more hidden. Inside your blood vessels, a slow change has been taking place for decades. When you were younger, your body produced plenty of a small but powerful molecule called nitric oxide. This little messenger told your arteries, "Relax, open up, let the blood flow." That's why erections were strong, effortless, and reliable. Blood surged into your penis the way water floods into a dam, filling it fully, locking it firmly. But as the years go by, nitric oxide production declines. By the time you reach 60, it can drop by 50% or more. Add in the wear and tear of life, stress, heavy meals, perhaps alcohol or smoking in the past, and those arteries stiffen. They no longer listen to the signal, so when you want to be intimate, the blood does not surge. It only trickles, and without that sudden rush, erections become weak, fade quickly, or fail to appear at all. This is why so many men lose confidence. They think it's testosterone. They think it's desire, but the real culprit is circulation. And the good news is that circulation can be restored. Which brings us to the surprising solution. One simple 100 ml drink taken before bed that helps flip the switch back on. And once you discover what that drink is, you'll understand why men in their 60s, 7s and beyond are reclaiming their strength again. 2. The solution. 100 ml of celery juice. Now that you understand the true cause, let me share with you the simple, natural solution that has been quietly transforming the lives of many of my patients. It is not a pill from the pharmacy. It is not an injection, and it is not some complicated device. It is something as humble as a green stalk you've probably seen 1,000 times in the grocery store. Celery. Yes, the same crisp vegetable you may have added to your salad or stew can also be pressed into a juice that holds tremendous power for men over 60. When you drink just one small glass, around 100 milliliters of celery juice before bed, something remarkable begins to happen. Inside your saliva and bloodstream, compounds from celery, especially nitrates, are converted into nitric oxide, that very molecule your body has been craving. The signal to your arteries is restored. They begin to relax again, to open again, to allow the life-giving surge of blood to flow where it needs to go. And because your penis is the most sensitive barometer of circulation, you may notice the difference there first. I remember one man aged 68 who came to me skeptical. "Doctor," he said, "you really think celery can help me?" "I've tried everything," I asked him for just 2 weeks of faith. He returned with a smile I will never forget. For the first time in years, he told me, "I woke up in the morning and felt alive down there again. That is the quiet power of this green drink. It does not force your body. It awakens it. And here is what excites me even more. Celery juice is not just about one night or one erection. It is about building a new foundation night after night until your circulation is reborn. Which is why we must now look at the timeline of transformation. What happens after 7 days, 14 days, and 30 days of this nightly ritual? Because that is where the story becomes even more inspiring. 3. The transformation timeline 7 to 14-30 days. One of the most common questions my patients ask me is, "Doctor, how long will it take before I notice a change?" And I always answer with honesty. The body responds in stages. You don't rebuild decades of circulation loss overnight. But when you give your arteries what they've been missing for years, the results begin sooner than you think. In the first 7 days, most men report subtle but meaningful changes. Sleep deepens. Nighttime bathroom trips often decrease, and a sense of lightness creeps back into the body. Some even describe a warmth in their lower abdomen, as though blood is moving more freely again. And yes, a few begin to notice those faint but hopeful morning stirrings, reminding them that their body still remembers how to respond. By day 14, the changes grow stronger. The endothelium, that delicate lining of your arteries, is now more responsive. Blood moves with less resistance. Men often tell me their thinking feels sharper, their energy in the morning more reliable, and their confidence beginning to return. For some, spontaneous erections appear during the day, something they had not experienced in years. Their partners notice too, not just in the bedroom, but in the way these men carry themselves with renewed vitality. At 30 days, the transformation is undeniable. Erections become firm, lasting, and dependable again. Intimacy shifts from a source of stress to a source of joy. Blood pressure often improves. Stamina increases, and climbing stairs no longer feels like a burden. I've had men look me in the eye after a month of celery juice and say, "Doctor, I feel like I've turned back the clock 10 years. And remember, these are only the first steps, because once you see what can happen in 1 month, you'll want to protect it. Which is why we must now talk about the common mistakes men make that can sabotage this ritual and how to avoid them before they cost you your progress. 4. The mistakes you must avoid. Over the years, I have seen men stumble not because the remedy didn't work, but because they unknowingly sabotage themselves along the way. The truth is, even the most powerful natural solution can lose its impact if it's not used correctly. And celery juice is no exception. The first mistake is overdoing it. I've had patients who thought if 1 glass worked, then 2 or 3 must be even better. But the body doesn't respond that way. Too much can upset your stomach, make you uncomfortable, or even discourage you from continuing. Moderation is the secret. 1 small glass is all it takes. Another mistake is ignoring the body's normal reactions. Celery is a natural diuretic, so some men notice more frequent urination or a stronger smell in their urine. This isn't a sign of harm. It's proof that your body is flushing toxins and responding to the drink. But I've seen men panic and quit too soon, thinking something is wrong. Trust the process. The third mistake is pairing the juice with the wrong habits. I remember one man proudly told me he was drinking celery every night, only to admit later that he washed it down with salty snacks and alcohol. That combination cancels out the very benefits he was hoping for. If you want results, keep the ritual clean and simple. And perhaps the biggest mistake of Alice, impatience. Circulation doesn't heal overnight. I've seen men give up after a week when the real breakthrough was waiting at day 14 or 30. Those who stayed the course were the ones who claimed their strength and confidence. Gentlemen, I don't want you to repeat these same missteps, because when you avoid them, the transformation is not only possible, it's powerful. And to prove it, let me share with you the real stories of men just like you who trusted this ritual and discovered a new life on the other side. 5 real patient stories. I could tell you about studies and science all day long, but nothing speaks louder than the voices of men who have lived this transformation themselves. I remember Robert, 67, who came into my office with his shoulders slumped and his voice low. He told me intimacy with his wife had become almost non-existent, and he carried the heavy shame of feeling like less of a man. I encouraged him to try one simple step, just 100 ml of celery juice each night before bed. 3 weeks later he returned, and for the first time I saw light in his eyes. "Doctor," he said, "I woke up this morning with a strength I thought I had lost forever." His wife, he told me, had noticed too. Then there was Michael, 70 years old, who had battled high blood pressure for years. He was tired of feeling dependent on medication and tired of feeling weak. I suggested the same nightly ritual, and within a month, not only was his blood pressure more stable, but he was sleeping more deeply and waking with morning firmness he hadn't felt in over a decade. "It's not just my health," he told me, "it's my confidence." And I'll never forget Anthony, 65, who'd quietly avoided dating after losing his partner because he feared failure in intimacy. With a mix of skepticism and hope, he began the celery juice ritual. Days later, he told me with a grin, "Doctor, I'm not just ready physically. I'm ready to live again." These are not miracles. They are men just like you. Men who gave their bodies what they needed and rediscovered their vitality. And what excites me most is that the benefits go far beyond the bedroom. Because what changes in your circulation changes your entire life, which is exactly what we need to talk about next. 6. The meaning beyond the bedroom. Too often men believe that erections are only about sex, about performance, about proving manhood in the bedroom. But after decades of caring for men in their 60s, 70s and beyond, I can tell you the truth. Erections are about health. They're the most visible signal your body gives you about your circulation, your heart, even your brain. When a man tells me he can no longer sustain firmness, I know it is not just about desire. It is his body's way of whispering, "Pay attention, something deeper is happening." When blood can flow strongly enough to create a firm erection, it means your arteries are open, your heart is not straining, and your brain is being nourished with oxygen. It means your energy is alive throughout your body. That is why when men begin the celery juice ritual, they often report more than just improved intimacy. They notice they can climb stairs more easily, that their memory feels sharper, that they wake up with energy instead of fatigue. They feel calmer because nitric oxide doesn't just help blood flow, it also soothes the nervous system. I recall one man, 72 years old, who told me, "Doctor, I thought this was just about being able to please my wife again. But what I found was that my whole life feels easier. I breathe better, I laugh more. I feel like I'm living again, not just existing." That is the real meaning behind this ritual. It is not chasing youth, it is reclaiming quality of life. And once men realize that, they understand why it must become more than an experiment. It must become a nightly ritual, a habit as steady as brushing your teeth. Because consistency is what turns sparks of change into a lasting fire. And that is exactly what we need to explore next. 7. The nightly ritual step by step. By now you understand the science and the stories, but what makes all the difference is turning this knowledge into a simple nightly practice. Let me walk you through exactly how I guide my own patients. Each evening, about an hour before bed, prepare a small glass, just 100 ml of fresh celery juice. Not a large bottle, not a complicated recipe, just a modest serving. If you can juice fresh, celery even better, but a clean additive-free option from the store will work too. Drink it slowly, not in one hurried gulp. Allow the compounds to mingle with your saliva because that is where the conversion into nitric oxide begins. Sit comfortably as you drink. Take a few slow breaths and let your body settle into calm. This is not just nutrition, it is a signal to your nervous system that the day is done and restoration is beginning. Avoid chasing it with alcohol or heavy food. Those will only weigh your body down and blunt the benefits. Think of this moment as an act of respect for your health, a gift you give yourself. Each night, consistency is where the magic happens. 1 or 2 nights will not change. Decades of circulation decline. But night after night, week after week, your body learns to respond. Your vessels grow more flexible, your energy steadier. I often tell men, treat this ritual as you would brushing your teeth. Small actions repeated faithfully build powerful results. And what I want you to realize is this: when you commit to this nightly practice, you are not just preparing for intimacy. You are rewriting the story of your health. Which brings us to the final and perhaps most important lesson: why this single ritual can transform not only your performance, but your entire life, and why now is the time to begin. Conclusion. Gentlemen, we have traveled a long way together in this conversation, and I hope you now see the truth more clearly than ever before. The struggles you have faced after 60 are not a sign of weakness, not a punishment of age, and certainly not the end of your masculinity. They are simply the result of a body that has forgotten how to open its own pathways, a circulation system, starved, of nitric oxide, a heart, and a spirit waiting for the right signal to awaken again. And that signal can be as simple as a small glass of celery juice each night before bed. We have uncovered why erections fade because blood flow weakens. We have discovered the solution, restoring nitric oxide with the power of natural nitrates. We have walked through the timeline of change, from the first week's subtle shifts to the undeniable transformation. At 30 days, we have warned against the common mistakes that can sabotage progress. And we have heard the voices of real men whose lives were renewed through this nightly ritual. Most importantly, we've learned that erections are not just about sex. They are about health, about vitality, about the very quality of your life. I want you to imagine yourself 30 days from now, waking up with energy, with strength, with confidence that no longer hides but shines through you. Imagine your partner's eyes lighting up. Or if you are alone, imagine the deep comfort of knowing your body is still alive, still capable, still yours. That is what this ritual offers. Not a miracle, but our turn to your true self. So I ask you, don't wait. Begin tonight. Pour that small glass. Take it slowly and trust that each sip is writing a new chapter in your story. Your health, your confidence, your joy are not behind you. They are waiting right here to be reclaimed. If this message has given you hope, I'd be grateful if you showed your support. Please like this video so more men can discover the truth. Share it with a friend who may need encouragement, and leave a comment below to tell me your story. I read everyone. Your voice matters, and it may inspire someone else to take the first step. And if you'd like to go even further in supporting this channel, so I can continue creating free content to serve you, consider making a small donation. Together we can keep building strength and confidence.